Hello, welcome to Introduction to Java Programming. In this session, we will discuss about serialization in Java. Let's begin. So what is serialization? Serialization in Java is a mechanism of writing the state of an object into a byte stream. So we have two kinds of stream, right? So we have text streams and we have byte streams. And text stream is readable. So in our program, we use text and we create objects with that data, which is text actually. Now we can convert our object into a byte stream, and that process is actually called serialization. Serialization is a process of writing the state of an object into a byte stream, and the reverse operation is called deserialization. Now, for example, I have an object, maybe a student object, or customer object, or a person object. Now, what I can do is I can write this data. So, object contains data, that is nothing but the state, values. Now, I can write to a byte stream. When I write to a byte stream, it will become like binary, and then this has to be stored in some file actually. So, byte stream file. So, because the data has to be stored in some form, because byte stream actually stores the data in the form of bytes. So in a file, you will have the byte stream data, that is binary data. Okay, what is the advantage that you are getting by this? See, your object may be having large size because data can be more. So if you imagine a customer data, okay, the state of a customer, so it will be so much actually. So now, in the text stream, each character is of 2 bytes, right? Now I would like to send this object to my server or to some other process somewhere, right? So now I require much bandwidth because the size of the object is bigger, and definitely it will get transmitted slowly. Now what I do is I will actually convert that as a file, byte stream file. So in the byte stream file, and each character is represented as 1 byte, so maximum 8 bits. So automatically 50% of the size is getting reduced. Now you can transport them very fast, though you require just less bandwidth, right? So serialization is mainly used to pass or share the object's state on the network, and this feature is actually called as marshalling in principles of programming language. Okay, so marshalling, unmarshalling. In Java, we are calling as serialization and deserialization. In fact, if you see Python, we call as pickling and unpickling. Okay, so serialization is a mechanism or a process of writing the state of an object to a byte stream and getting back the object from this particular byte stream file is actually called deserialization. So that means once I convert my object to byte stream and then I send this file to some server or some other machine, and there I can get back my data back. That is called a deserialization, and which is important actually. Usually we will be we will be creating objects and then we'll serialize them and we will pass them to other processes. Okay, yeah, with this, let's actually go to Sublime here. Yeah, what is the serialization? It's a process of writing the state of an object to a byte string. And in the process of serialization, what all Java classes which are required means firstly, file output stream, because you want to write the state of an object to a file, right? So that is a byte stream file. So you want to write to a byte stream file, you require file output stream. And if in fact, if at all you want to wrap, you can wrap with the buffered output stream also, right? So then in order to convert or write the state of this object to byte stream, which is pointing to a file, you require object output stream class. So these two classes are actually available in java.io, and these two classes are child classes of input stream and output stream, right? We have seen, right, byte streams. At the top you have input stream, that is for reading, and output stream. So because these two deal with output stream, so they are the child class of output stream. And in the object output stream class, we have a method called write object, and this object converts text to byte string. So this is the process at serialization. Okay, in order to serialize an object, you need to first have a file stream pointing to a file, and then you require object output stream, and by using this object you will be writing the object. And once you convert it, you will have the byte stream file, and you can transport over wherever you wish, and then you have to retrieve back the object. So that process is deserialization, the reverse of serialization. And in order to get back the object, what all is required is file input stream is required, because you need to read object from that particular byte stream file. And then in order to read, you require a read object method, and this read object method is available in object input stream class. Okay, yeah, so these are the classes and methods which are required. And apart from that, we need to have a marker interface, which is also called tagged interface, called serializable. So if at all you want to serialize an object, so that class, the objects class, must implement serializable interface, right? This is the serialization process. Firstly, you need to have an object, right? So maybe student object or customer object or person object. So you will create a class, and you will create objects of that particular class, and then a particular object you want to serialize. Now that class should implement this particular serializable interface, and it's a marker interface. Marker interface is an interface which has no methods. It just tells some information to the JVM. So here serializable interface tells the JVM that the objects of this class can be serializable. Okay, so if you are not implementing serializable, then we are going to get an error actually. Okay, so in serialization, there is one more point that is actually about transient keyword. Transient is a modifier. Out of 12 modifiers, transient is one. Whenever you make some data as transient, and that data cannot be serializable. Whenever you are converting the state of an object to byte stream, you wish some data cannot be converted. You don't want to convert that data to byte stream. Okay, then you can actually make the data as transient. So usually the sensitive information we will make transient. So sensitive information is about your personally identifiable information, your credit card numbers, your CVV numbers, your usernames and passwords. Okay, so these things we don't want to convert. We serialize, because when I serialize and I'm sending my file, somebody can grab and they can know it actually. So that's why we will not serialize them. For that, we need to mention transient keyword. Yeah, so this is about serialization. Let's now understand with a program. So now I have a class. So I would like to serialize objects of a class called person. So public class person, and person has 3 data members. Every person will have a name, and person has some age, and person has some other number also. Okay, so everybody will have an other number, right? Yeah, so these are the 3 data members of the person class. Now I want a constructor to construct all of them. So I am writing a constructor here, and this dot name equal to name, age equal to age, and this dot other equal to other. Fine. Now what I'm doing, in order to display this person information, I'm overriding the toString method. Since I'm overriding, I just say @override. So that's the best practice. So public string toString, and what we are doing, return. So I'm actually crafting a string over here. So in square brackets, I'm writing student, and then comes name, age, and other. So this is my person class. Okay, so let's make our person class should be compiled, and it should be ready. But here one thing important is, if at all I want to serialize this person class object, now this person class must implement serializable interface. Serializable interface. Okay, so where is the serializable interface is available? It is available in IO package, java.io.serializable. Directly I am importing. I'm not saying star because I'm using only serializable, rest all normal things only, right? So the serializable interface was there in IO package. I'm importing it so that it's available to me. And now what I'm saying, this class implements serializable interface, and this is a mark interface. It has no method, so we need not to override, or we need not to implement any of the methods. Now, whenever the dot class file is created, JVM understands that the objects of this person class can be serializable because it implements serializable interface. Okay, so that is the point we need to remember actually. So if you want to serialize any object, that class must implement serializable interface. Otherwise, JVM will not allow. So JVM will give you a runtime exception. I will actually show you later on by removing the serializable interface. Yeah, so now let me compile this Java C person.java. Yeah, it's compiled successfully. It's compiled successfully. So in fact, you want to see the bytecodes, you can actually see here Java P person. So these are the bytecodes, implements java.io.serializable, and we have a constructor and we have a toString method. That's it, right? Yeah, so now what we do, we actually write the procedure for serialization. So now my dot class file is available and I can serialize this person objects. So for that I require a main class. Okay, so in the main class, the name of the main class I kept as serialize test. We're testing the serialization over here. And I'm going to use so many IO classes here. So that's why java.io.star. And the first thing what I'm doing is I'm creating an object of the person p1 equal to new person. I need to pass name, age, and this is my Aadhaar number. Aadhaar number is long. It is very big number, right? So I have mentioned as L. If you're not saying L, it's going to become integer and you are going to get an error. So any long is actually followed by L, any float followed by F, right? Yeah, so then I'm printing it system.out.println. So now what happens? p1.toString is going to come because we have overridden toString method. So p1.toString will come and toString will actually print like this, right? Student, name, age, and Aadhaar. Okay, that's fine. So now see the serialization process. In order to do serialization, we require output stream. So file output stream FOS equal to new file output stream of person.dat. So what I'm doing here is I would like to write my object. I would like to write my object to some file. Okay, so that is actually a person.dat. So after dot, right, you can give any non-standard extension. You can say your name, I can say my name, okay, dot abc, dot xyz, whatever it is, because it's a binary file, right? So it's not a text file. See, if you want to say Java file, we'll say dot Java. If you want C file, we'll say dot C, right? If you want text file, we'll say text file, but it's a binary file. It's a byte stream file. You can give any extension because that's not readable. And in fact, you cannot open it also because there are no standard editors who open binary files. So you can give any extension. So now here I just gave dat, otherwise data or info, whatever you want, you can give actually. For example, I want to give info, person.info. Okay, I can give any extension actually. So that's a binary file. Now, so there is an output stream which is pointing to person.info. If this file is not there, this is going to get created in my current directory. Now I require object output stream OS equal to new object output stream of FOS. So through object output stream, I'm going to write the object to a file which is pointed by FOS. So that's a point actually, right? And then what I can say, OS dot write object. Which object I am writing? OS dot write object of P1, the person object actually. So this is what serialization. So now what I'm doing, I'm writing the state of the person object. So this P1 is having certain state, right? ASDF 21 and other number. This I am writing to this file person.info, which is a byte stream. So this is actually serialization, right? So once you do the serialization, you can actually send that object or that file person.info to wherever you wish, to servers or other machines. And there I would like to get back the object. I want to deserialize. So here what I'm doing, I am deserializing here itself. What is deserialization? You just go to this person.info and get back the object. Get back the person object. That means get back the details of ASDF 21 and this particular Aadhaar number. In order to do that, what all require? File input stream is required. So file input stream FIS equal to new file input stream of person.info, right? I have made it as info, right? So just go to that person.info file, and from there we have to read it, right? So object input stream OIS equal to new object input stream of FIS, right? So I need to go to this particular file through FIS, and now by using this object input stream object, I am going to read the object OIS.read object. I need not to mention here P1 or something, because whatever there in the file, I'm just getting back, right? So this read object will return the object back. This read object will return the object back. So what is the object that is there in the person.info? Okay, you can give any name, xyz.info, abc.info, whatever it is. But we should know what object has been written over there. So the person object is written over there. So now what I'm doing is person p2 equal to OIS.read object. So the object has been read to this p2. Okay, fine. Yeah, but read object will return, it actually return an object type. It returns java.lang.object. Java.lang.object. It returns actually object type. But what you are getting person, right? So now what we need to do is we need to get typecast explicitly to person. When I read the object, I'm getting the person object back, which is now referred by P2. Now P2 should contain all this data, right? Let's test actually by printing it. Okay, so we have read the object. Let's print the object. Okay, so now how to print the object? You just need to write system.out.println, that's it. So PL, and we have a toString method already, right? So just say, then just say P2. I got the object from my byte stream file and I'm printing it. So that's it. It should actually display all other data. So if I could able to display all this data, then deserialization is done properly. Okay. So now, yeah. So if you compile, you will get one compile time error, because one unreported exception will be there. Let me compile and show you that. So Java C serialized test. Serialized test.java. Yeah, unreported exception, IO exception must be caught or declared. So whenever we are writing, right, and whenever we are reading, so that unreported exception is coming up, we know how to solve this problem. So you just declare that exception. Throws IO exception, or otherwise just it's the superclass. So throws exception. So now that problem is going to be solved. Okay, so now let me compile Java C serialize test.java compiled successfully. Now when I run, what is going to happen? Java serialize test. Okay, so now what is going to happen? So program starts with the main method. So a person object is getting created and we are printing it. So P1 is going to get printed, right? P1 details are going to get printed. Later that P1 I am serializing and I am reading that serialized object from person.info, and I'm getting back my person object and with a reference P2, and I'm printing it. Let's see that. Yeah, now you can see this is my P1. This is my P1 actually. So line number 6. So what is my P1? Student name, ASDF, age 21, Aadhaar, etc. Now I have serialized and put that into person.info, and I have read it back. And I am printing P2.c. P2.toString, system.out.println P2. So I am not saying P1, P2. That means what? From the byte stream, I'm getting my object back and I'm able to see the details actually. So this is what serialization and deserialization. And if you want to see here in the current directory, you will have this person.info file actually. So this is the person.info file. Can you see the person.info file? So let's try actually doing nano person.info. Yeah, so you can actually see this is the binary data, right? So this is not a text data, that's not readable. So something else is coming up actually. So we cannot directly read it. but through program, I could able to get it back. So that is actually with the help of object input streams, read object method. Understand? So byte streams are not readable. They will have binary data, but I can get it back through deserialization. Fine. So this is the basic concept of serialization, process of writing state of an object to a byte stream, and deserialization is getting back the object. Okay, so here, for example, yeah, it's working fine, and that's about serialization. But what I do is, I will remove this, implement serializable. So now let's understand the importance of serializable interface. Public class person, I have removed it. Now, when I removed it, my program has got changed. So I need to recompile. I have recompiled. Now, person class is not implementing serializable, so it cannot be serialized. But now what I'm doing, let me compile my serialized test also, and let me run now Java serialized test. Now let's observe here. Let's observe here. So what's happening in the serialized test? Let's follow. So it starts with the main method, and in the main method, person object got created, and P1 is getting printed. So P1 we are able to print it, and later I am trying to serialize it. But serialization is not possible. So abnormal termination. Okay, we are getting abnormally terminated. You can see Java 11, the line number 11, write object. So I would like to serialize it. I'm converting, but is it possible? No. What is the exception? Java.io. Not serializable exception. You cannot serialize a person because person class is not serializable. It's not implementing serializable interface, right? So that's the importance of actually the serializable interface. Okay, so a class must implement serializable, then only it is this can be serializable. Otherwise, JVM will not serialize it. Okay, let me now compile this person.java and then Java serialized test. Now everything is working fine, right? Because it implements serialized. Okay, so that is the second part. And the third part, actually, use of transient keyword. So now what I'm doing is, I feel my Aadhaar number is actually sensitive information. So what I do, I make it transient. So transient is a keyword so that it can't be, it cannot be serialized. Okay, so any sensitive information we should not serialize because we are converting to a file and storing here, and then we are sending, transporting. Somebody gets that information and reads the data, your sensitive information is exposed, right? So I don't want serialize my usernames and passwords or any sensitive information, right? So then we can actually make that as a transient. So when you make transient, it will not get serialized. Okay, so it's a long number, right? When it will not get serialized, but the data item will be there as part of the object, and its default value will be there. So what is the default value of a long? 0L. At the same time, you don't want to serialize your age also. Transient private int age. What is the default value of integer? 0, right? So it will not get serialized. That means the original values of this age and other will not go. Rather their default values will be going as part of the object. Understand? So whenever I make transient, the actual state of those variables age and other will not be written to your file. Rather, its default values will be written actually. Okay, let's test that. So here I have the same code. I am giving name, age, and other number. Everything is there. But when I serialize, what happens here? When I write object, your name will go because it's not. Your name will go. It's not transient, but your age is transient, so its default value will go, and its default again. So Aadhaar is also its default value is going actually. Right, the actual values will not get serialized. That's the use of transient. Fine. So here everything will get printed. So of course P1 everything will get printed, but here only this data will go, So hence, when you print actually the red object, and so when you read the object using red object method, you will actually have this one. Let's now compile JavaC person.java because I have changed that one. Okay, let me save it. Once again, let me save it and once again compile. Yeah, compile. Now I have the transient keyword was there. Now let me actually compile the serialized test also. I think not required, but for the safe side, I'm compiling, and then Java space serialized test. Now you can see what has happened here. What has happened? Let's actually observe. So it starts with the main method, and person object is created, and we are printing. So name ASDF AS21, and other number is there, right? Now I have serialized this. When I serialized, transient data is not actually write into byte stream file. Rather, its default values are written. So when I get the object back, okay, when I read the object back and I'm printing P2, so now student name is ASDF and age is 0, it's a default value, and other is also 0. Even though you have values, they are not written actually to the file because they are transient. So that's the use of the transient keyword, right? So transient is a modifier. Whenever you say some data as transient, it will not be serialized. So here these two data members I don't want to serialize. I feel they are sensitive, so I made it transient. So that's about the serialization. So hope you have understood the serialization thoroughly. Uh, in summary, it's a process of writing the state of an object to a byte stream. So the reverse of it is called deserialization, and you require 4 classes: file output stream and object output stream when you are serializing, and there is a method called write object. While deserializing, you require file input stream and object input stream, and a method called read object. And the class objects you want to serialize, right? And that class must implement serializable interface. That's a marker interface which has no method. And transient is a keyword. Whenever you use that, that data item will not be serialized. And transient we will use only with data members. So we cannot use that with the methods or other things actually. Okay, so that is about serialization. Hope you have understood, and see you in the next session. Thank you.